Okay, let's have a. Okay, this is 1895.
In 1895.
It's in 1895, but it was published right around then. It was published in the 1890s. So it was a current day at the time it was published in London, which is where I think he was writing, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And written about Europeans to Europeans. It's a nonsense work. In fact, it's considered one of the, what's the word? One of the best or most important...
Greatest,
something like that, nonsense works ever written. There's nonsense poetry, there's Alice in Wonderland, there's a few others, but in adult literature, this is one of the most genius pieces of nonsense literature ever written. So, that says something about Micah, maybe? I don't know. But go ahead and tell us what it's about.
It's the greatest. You can't tell what it's about.
Why?
Because then it won't be fun. There's not a plot. I mean, there kind of is, but it's kind of just a bunch of events.
Okay, but what's it basically about?
This dude named Algie was in a lot of debt.
You have to talk loudly so the camera can hear you.
The camera can't hear anybody, technically.
Okay. Algernon is in debt, and what happens?
And they're trying to get him to go to debtor's prison. He doesn't want to go.
and he's in love
It's
with
really not
Jack's
much about that.
ward,
It kind of
who's
is.
Cecily, and Jack doesn't want him to go see Cecily, and Jack is in love with Algernon's cousin, Gwendolyn.
So it's about courtship, okay? When you're dating. These people are in love with other people.
Courtship. It's not courtship.
Well,
the
with
opposite
Jack,
of courtship.
Jack and Gwendolyn it is.
I guess.
With Algie, it's just basically like she's been in love with the figment of her imagination for a really long time, and so all he has to do is be that person, and then he gets her. That's basically what goes on there. Yeah. And then you find out that Jack is a Bumbriist, which means that he is Jack in the country and Ernest in town. And Algie has a made-up friend, Mr. Bunbury, who lives in the country, so he can basically go wherever he wants, whenever he wants to, because he can always use Bunbury as an excuse.
So it says Bunbury's sick, I gotta take off.
And
He
Jack,
goes wherever he wants.
Jack has this brother, Ernest, and he can be whoever he wants because he can always blame it on his brother. So they both need to be named Ernest because the women that they love think their names are Ernest, and it's the importance of being earnest, and so they both want to be earnest, so these girls will want to marry him. And they're just that shallow that it's their name that matters most. So it's really a lot about being kind of shallow and superficial, and it is nonsense literature, and it is incredibly hilarious, but it's also a huge parody. Wilde is making fun of the upper class, and taking everything that they do and say to its absolute extreme to kind of show them, look, you're silly and idiotic and all that kind of stuff. So, you both liked it. Micah especially loved it.
It's
So,
my favorite movie.
it's your favorite movie? So why do you like it so much?
Because it makes me laugh a lot.
Why is it so funny?
Well, because, I don't know, because I'm all about class or whatever, and it's like I'll fold that, and it's, I don't know, it's just...
Like it's all about being classy?
Yeah, it's like my kind of humor, I don't know. She talks about his hair, you know, it's like, didn't see or heard that one before, I don't know, it just cracks me up.
Yeah. Reagan?
What?
What's your favorite part?
I don't know.
Come on, let's hear it.
I really don't know. I like the part when I don't know.
What?
You know, I like that part too, really.
I like a lot of parts. It's all
For example,
when Cecily is having her lessons and then the minister comes up or whatever.
Dr.
She's
Chasuble.
like, Dr. Chasuble, and she's like, oh, you've been complaining of a headache. And she's like, no, I haven't. She's like, but I felt you were. So that's why I wasn't paying attention to my lessons and stuff.
It's like, I would
Or
hang upon
like-
her lips. Spoke metaphorically.
yeah, super funny. It is absolutely hilarious, and one of the reasons why it's so funny is because Wilde has character after character, scenario after scenario, he has the person say precisely what you don't think they're going to say. They say basically the opposite of what you expect them to say. So, Ernest, that's Jack, tries to get engaged to Gwendolyn, and the mom's like, heavens no, you're not on my list of eligible bachelors, but I'll interview you. And so they go into this interview scenario, and all the things she cares about are all the dumbest, least important things that you could ever care
That's
about.
Why it's so rad, though.
Like she's like, do you know everything or nothing? And he says, I know nothing. And she says, that's perfect, because I don't think anything should tamper with natural ignorance.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, do you smoke? And he's like, yes, I must admit I smoke. She's like, good. Bachelors have some occupation of some kind.
Yeah. So smoking is their occupation. So it's just really funny. And her name is Lady Bracknell. And some of the commentary I've read on it says that she's really the most important character in the play. That it's really largely about her. So think about that when you're reading it. And another thing that you should know about this play is that Oscar Wilde was right on the forefront of a movement to remove morality from the arts. He was the huge proponent of art for art's sake, and yet he really did write some things that I absolutely love. I love this. I really like A Picture of Dorian Gray, and he's got some fairy tales, and I mean he was really a genius, but he kind of had a tragic personal life, and he just didn't think that art should have any obligation to promote morality in society at all. The trouble is that the arts are always where the society heads morally. They always lead the march morally. And so in this play, look for the word boring, because the word boring is probably in here 20 or 30 times. And every time they talk about something being boring, they're basically kind of slighting things that have been traditionally morally important. Family is boring, getting married is boring, having a job is boring. Education is boring. The things that really you should probably value the most are the things that are just super annoying. And they're all very shallow, and it makes it very funny. So it's innocent in one sense because it's very clean and it's very hilarious. But from the standpoint of being one of those who wanted to make a statement about, kind of taking morality out, he does that too. And so in that sense, I don't know, he partners with others who were on that crusade. So think about that while you read it. But he really was brilliant, and this play is absolutely brilliant. And if you've got some teens that don't want to read, stick them into The Importance of Being Earnest, because if they have a
good sense of humor,
anywhere like ours, then they will laugh the whole way through and actually enjoy reading. So, The Importance of Being Earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people by Oscar Wilde. Thanks for watching.